$1 million starter home is the norm in 237 cities in an article that Zillow just put out. Now, this is something that I've been talking about on this channel about how the quote unquote starter home that used to be affordable is no longer affordable. And according to this article and according to what's going on in the real estate market, a lot of this stuff has accelerated a lot faster than expected. Now, in the article, it shows the states where the $1 million normal starter homes are. Obviously, the majority of them are in California. And of course, if you look at this, there's New York, New Jersey, Florida, Massachusetts, Washington State, Texas, Hawaii, Connecticut, Colorado, Wyoming, Maryland, South Carolina, Arizona, Georgia, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nevada, New Hampshire, Virginia, Illinois, Rhode Island, and Utah. So everything falls within those states. However, we're going to see this in and around just about every major city, including the shithole that they refer to, also known as Baltimore. They call it a shithole. But even Baltimore, in the near future, I would say we have about 15 years to 20 years, is going to see the exact same thing. Every major city, okay, that is around or near a metropolitan area where there are a lot of centers of, companies, organizations, military contractors, you're going to see a $1 million starter home normal. Now, in Canada and the United Kingdom, this is normal. This has been normal for years, but we're going to have the same issue. And I've been talking about this. One of the reasons is obviously the immigration policy. Number two, you have these companies, these hedge funds that are coming over here and that are buying the majority of these homes. The average person will be a renter in the next 10 to 15 years because owning a home will then be considered a luxury. Obviously, right? $1 million. Most people that have an average income in the United States, I would say, it can be anywhere between $60,000 and $120,000, cannot afford $1 million home payment. Okay, so what's going to happen is, you will be renting from the small percentage of people that do own homes or from one of these hedge funds or these builders. Okay, because a lot of these builders are getting into doing these rental only townhomes and single family home communities. Now, if you're somebody out there, I said this before, always own some real estate. Own the home that you live in. And if you plan to sell that home, buy another home because it will be a luxury in the future. They'll be a lot more expensive. There'll be less than what you can buy right now. The inventory is kind of dwindled. I'm working with a lot of buyers. And one thing that I see is that people's expectations haven't caught up to the reality of the market, right? People want a home, and rightfully so, they're paying for it, right? But they want a home that has everything, 3 floors, a basement, stainless steel appliances and granite countertops and all of this stuff. When in reality, for the average person, I would say, if you're under a $400,000 purchase price in and around most major cities and metropolitan areas, you're going to have a hard time finding everything that you want. Now, if you go into a rural area, right, where you don't have public sewage and water, you may be able to find this stuff, right? Because in rural areas, let's just say like in places, a lot of parts of West Virginia, it's a lot cheaper because there's nothing, there's no money out there. There's no population center. There's no city. There's nothing that feeds that economy, right? But you can get more bang for your buck. So if you're somebody that works remote or you have your own business or online business and you can afford to live you're able to live in a rural area, that's totally different than people that have to rely on state, federal government, defense contractors where you have, where they're only in certain cities, right, and metropolitan areas. So once you get close to these centers and these major cities, this is where everything changes, and it's going to be like this for the future. So if you're somebody out there and you own real estate, don't sell it. If you plan to sell it, roll your equity into the next property and keep owning, because in the future, it will be a rare thing. It'll be very rare for people to own a home because most people will not make enough. We already know that when it comes to income, the income is not matching the housing market. Like I said, 237 cities, $1 million starter homes. Okay, these are small homes, maybe 3,000 square feet or less, right? And they're $1 million, but most people's income does not or cannot keep up with $1 million price tag on it. See, people have to start adjusting their reality. My first home was 900 square foot townhome, right? It was like $170,000, $180,000. But, I went and looked, and that home is now worth, like $380,000-$400,000. Also in this article, it states that starter home values increase 54% over a 5-year period, right? So let's just say you bought a starter home for, a 200,000. Well, now that starter home is worth 300,000. And this is what I try to tell people, right? You have to learn how to stay down to come up. Buy a home you can tolerate, that you could put, some paint on and make it look nice while you're in there, right? But then stay there for the value to increase, and then just roll the money over to the next property. You'll have a larger down payment because you can move your equity. That's the smartest way to do it, to get to the home that you really like, or your quote unquote dream home. A lot of people have these salaries that are flatlined, that aren't moving with the housing market, and they want to buy this dream home out the gate, but don't make the appropriate money, monthly or yearly, and don't have a large enough down payment. And there's no trajectory for them to be able to do that. So you got to take option B, which is build your way up. And this is something that most people don't understand. So again, I'm sending you all another warning. The average starter home in most major areas will be at or close to $1 million, just like the United Kingdom, just like Canada. And we will unfortunately become a nation of renters. Let me know what you all think down in the comments.